This is Yinlin's strongest team, but did you know there's actually a free-to-play setup that's shockingly strong and no one's talking about it? Stay tuned to find out. Hey yo! Welcome to my Yinlin pre-release analysis. We're going to be going through her kit, what her teams will be, and how can you combo her well to play her good. Hopefully it'll help you know who to prepare and build for. Note that all the footage you see is based on CBT. We do not have it released yet. But without further ado, let's go. We'll start with a breakdown of what her kit looks like. Again, with my guides, I don't want to be too long-winded and something that you could just Google and read. But alas, here's her basic attack, which is 4 mid-range hits. Enemies who are hit will be inflicted with a mark. More on the mark later. Her skill here can be used twice. The first time you use it, you'll do an AoE damage. On top of that, it'll enhance her next 4 basic attacks. Her enhanced basic attacks will cause an extra lightning bolt to drop on your enemies. After using 4 basics, you can use your E again to do another AoE damage. Her ult is a simple 7-hit AoE attack with very respectable multipliers, and it also inflicts enemies with a mark. It's the same mark as before, and all of these marks will disappear the moment Yinlin gets swapped out. Up to this point, you should understand that Yinlin has decent damage, so you don't want to just use her as a pure support. You want to give her some DPS. Her forte circuit is her main mechanic. When it is full, hold your basic attack to do an enhanced AoE charged attack. Enemies inflicted with the mark that I mentioned beforehand through basic or ulti will have their mark be enhanced. This enhanced mark, however, does not disappear after Yinlin is swapped out. Every time the target with enhanced mark is hit, Yinlin will do damage to them through this lightning strike here. She doesn't have to be on field for this to happen. Note that even if one of the target with this enhanced mark is hit, all enemies with the same mark will be hit by the lightning too. This is why we say Yinlin is really good with Calcharo, because it covers for Calcharo's weakness, which is the short attack range Calcharo has. This makes Yinlin the premium ally for Calcharo to clear like the mobs in the abyss, for example, that just appears around him. Her intro skill here does AoE damage. Her outro skill here buffs the next character by 20% electro and 25% ult damage. This is the highest buff value on an outro skill in the game. It perfectly helps Calcharo since he wants both buffs, but literally anyone would love the 25% ult damage, right? Not to mention the off-field damage by Yinlin that will strike on enemies with the enhanced mark on them. These are her passives, which makes her first skill grant herself a 15% crit rate, and her second skill would do more damage and buff her when hitting a target with a mark. And with that comes a conclusion of what Yinlin's role is. She's a sub DPS slash support that will buff your team and still do really good damage on her own, especially through the ulti and through the enhanced mark. Here's an interesting point about her kit as well. There are people who would argue that, oh, I'm just gonna use Yinlin as a main DPS, which I assure you she can do that. Her damage is certainly good enough. But here's the thing, you're effectively wasting the highest value buff on her outro skill in the entire game. It simply isn't the most efficient, but it still could be done. Main DPS Yinlin, go crazy. I know you slimy people wants to see her bounce on field as long as possible, you piece of sh. Weapon-wise, of course, we have her own, which is the best in slot. I actually heavily suggest you going for it because anything else pales in comparison to her own weapon, which, well, kind of obvious, but considering we get so many free summons, you should have enough to get Yinlin and her weapon too. Replacements, however, can be either Augment for the crit rate main stat with attack boost, or Cosmic Ripples only for the high attack percent main stat. Echoes wise, go for the 5 Thunder set, use Mephis as your main. Ideally, you want to use the 4-3-3-1-1 setup with these as their main stats. Needless to say, go for crit damage main on the forecast if you have her weapon that gets you crit rate. Again, these are all based on CBT, it's not official release. I'll make an updated guide as she's released and I can actually test her, right? So proceed with caution. And now onto my favorite part, the teams and the combos. As I mentioned in every other guide, in this game, it's not so much what you put on characters, it's much more how you play the characters. That is the one factor that's going to decide whether or not a character is going to be good or bad, which will be the main focal point of my guides. I want you to know how to play a character. And today I'll actually bring in 2 teams for Yinlin. The first one will be the obvious perfect team for Yinlin, which, you know, I'll just tell you right now, it'll be Yinlin Calcharo Verina. Obvious. Stay till the end though, because the second team is an unprecedented, really accessible team that a lot of people are just sleeping on, but should be really good with Yinlin. And here we're at the showcase of the setup. We'll start with the first team, which is pretty simple, the Calcharo team, right? You'll start with Verina, gain considerable energy with her skill and basics. Then go ahead and use your ult, then your echo. Trigger your outro skill into Yinlin, buffing your entire team through Verina. Then start using Yinlin's skill. Her basic is now enhanced. She also gained crit rate through her passive. Use her ultimate next. That'll put a mark on the enemy on top of doing damage, right? Followed by 4 basics, then use her skill. Now you should have max forte circuit, so go ahead and use a charged attack to activate your forte circuit. By doing so, the enemy's mark has now been enhanced. After that, you should have max considerable energy, trigger her outro skill into Calcharo. Now Calcharo has all the buffs possible. He's cracked now. Use his ultimate right away, followed by a basic. The moment you do this, he'll activate his enhanced charged attack. It has a long animation, so swap to Verina in the meantime to use her E. Get that energy back up. Calcharo will still be on the field doing his attack. Once you finish with Verina, swap back to Calcharo, take cancel the swap. Then do 3 basic attacks, 1 skill, 1 basic. This will again activate his highest damage combo named Death Messenger. After that, go ahead and do 5 basic attacks. You'll be able to end your DPS window with a final Death Messenger for a total of 3 in your ultimate duration. And that will be the end of the DPS window for this team. You just gotta go back to Verina, get those consider up again, and then just keep on doing this. Aside from the little swap canceling you have to do, it's a fairly easy team to use. But do know that there should be an even better combo with highly consistent damage as well, which I'll cover in a guide after her official release. I gotta do some testing, right? And that will be the team that will dominate Wuthering Waves for quite some time to come. But one of the more popular questions that I've heard is that can we use Yinlin with other main DPS, like say encore? The easiest answer I can give you is Yinlin can be used with quite literally any DPS in the game. Now certainly the buttons you gotta click will be, you know, slightly different to fit all their playstyles, but with how Yinlin benefits whoever's on field through like off-field damage with the lightning bolt that comes from the sky, literally who wouldn't want extra damage, right? She'll benefit anyone, so don't worry. Let me know in the comments whether or not you want me to do videos about combos that Yinlin can do with DPS that's non-Calcharo. And now for the team that actually sparks joy in my narrow eyes. The actual best free team for Yinlin that's insane in the beta at least. We have Yinlin, Chixia, and Yuanwu. You would never think Chixia and Yuanwu are good, but I'm telling you right now, Chixia at least, I know she's underrated. I made a video. But for Yuanwu's case, a bit different. See, in the beta, Yuanwu's 3rd dupe allows him to increase his skill damage by 60% of his defense, which his skill is basically this pillar that hits the enemy with lightning when an enemy is attacked. Long story short, it's a lot of damage the moment you activate this duplicate effect, right? But after the official release, we see that Yuanwu has been nerfed. The 3rd dupe now gets you 20% increased skill damage instead of 60, which is still quite solid though, right? The peak of this team would happen when you consider Chixia's 6th duplicate, which increases basic attack damage for Yuanwu, and Yuanwu's 5th duplicate that increases ult damage. The buff values that you get is insanely high. However, let's try and not consider duplicates, right? The idea with this team is that Yuanwu's pillar damage combined with Yinlin's mark damage off the field, plus all the buffs involved will feed Chixia and show insane damage output. It's like 3 sources of damage at once, right? Now the trick to really make this team shine is making sure Chixia can do damage consistently, which the way to do that is to keep her from being interrupted, especially when she does her forte circuit where she stands there and shoots. This is a perfect job for Yuanwu because he has a whole kit dedicated to breaking the enemy. I won't delve too deep, but you can read it in game or wait for my video when I actually get to try it. So once you do break a boss, go ahead and queue in all the buffs, get Chixia in, use her skill which gets you her forte circuit up, use 60 of your bullets to shoot the enhanced hit. If you have her 4th duplicate unlocked, you get all forte circuit charge back up with the ultimate. Then go ahead and use them up again by holding skill, shoot your enhanced bullet, and end your DPS window. After that, recharge your consider again, do the same thing. I couldn't really find footage for a perfect showcase of that, but if you do it well, you're gonna realize you have Yinlin's lightning damage, you have Yuanwu's lightning damage, you have Chixia's fusion bullet damage. It looks insane. But yeah, there should be a lot more intricacies in this combo, which I will showcase once she's released, or you know, perhaps I'll make a guide. Stay tuned for that. But as a conclusion though, is this team better than the Calcharo setup? After the Yuanwu nerf, quite likely no. But think about this though, especially after you unlock the duplicates of these 4-star characters, which is quite easy to get. Chixia's free and Yuanwu's rated up with Yinlin, I believe, and he's free too. Once you get their duplicates going, they are now a really formidable team that you can safely assign them to be your 2nd abyss team. But yeah, I hope I convinced you to build my girl Ma Xiaofang. Go and ask in the comments why she's called that. But hopefully after watching this, you have a better idea how Yinlin works and who you want to play with. I think a lot of us will try the Calcharo team, but hey, if you're a base like me, you'll build out Chixia just like I did, right? And that'll be all for today. Let me know what goofy things you want me to do. Sometimes I take your comments and instantly do a video off of it. And that's all. Take care.